Auckland Stadium for this round 15 NPL Victoria clash between home side Dandenong Funda and the visiting Kingston City. It might be a bit too early to call this game a relegation six-pointer, but both sides are in desperate need of a victory, with Dandenong Funda still searching for their first home win of the season, and Kingston City now winless since round 5, so they'll go 10 games without a win if they don't pick up the 3 points tonight. My name is Damian. I'm being joined tonight by Joey Lynch. Joey, pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely buzzing. Looking forward to it. My first game out here at Auckland Stadium. Last time I was out here, it was just George Andrews Reserve, so the sponsors have come good and very much looking forward to what should be, well, it's not a high-flying matchup, as you said, but both sides really needing a win, so hopefully they're ready to get stuck right in and give us a proper show here tonight.
Most definitely. We'll take you through the team lineups in just a second. As we've noted, Dandenong Funda and Kingston City are both struggling at the wrong end of the ladder and are in desperate need of the 3 points. Both sides have gone into the transfer window with a few players that have come on board, while a number of others have left. Of course, with the Dandenong Funda, Peter Skapetis has left and joined South Melbourne. He made his debut last night for South Melbourne in that 3-0 defeat to newly rejuvenated Dandenong City, who have about 427 A-League games experience in them now, with the likes of Brendan Chantalab, Carvalho and Adrian Leia at the helm. Kingston City have also recruited. We have their new goalkeeper, Satoshi Asugi, who has been brought over from Melbourne City, as well as Hernan Inostroza, the Chilean forward who was previously at State League 1 side Altona City. And we will also have David Antequera, formerly of Nunawading City and Box Hill United, on the Kingston bench. One of the other signings, I think it might have been the first mid-season signing, Anthony Theo, has scored twice for Kingston City since joining him from Dandenong City. So he's one player to definitely watch. So we'll take you through the team lineups in just 1 second. For Dandenong Funda, Omar Macho, Brandon Barnes, Blake Carpenter, Christian Carvalho, Piers Clark, Anthony Desic, Kieran Dover, Ionis Georgopoulos, Mercer Mehmedi, Nicholas Madafri, and Jack Musgrave. On the bench, Kane Runji, the second-choice goalkeeper, Dean Piemonte, Sevdin Ismaili, Jake Kushieri, and Halil Rekic, as the referee is just about to blow the whistle to signal the start of this game. Get the Kingston City lineup in just 1 second for you as well. So Kingston City, starting 11, Aydin Fetahagic, Damian Ionis, Anthony Ancello, Hernan Inostroza, Chris Irwin, Simo Jovanovic, Satoshi Usugi, Faisal Saksada, Ali Soleimani, Anthony Theo, and Muad Zwed. On the bench, you'll see Stephen Hatzakurdis, Dante Conte, Alex Canilia, David Antequera, as well as Erhan Yelaz. Joey, predictions for tonight?
Well, it's a very intriguing one, isn't it? As we've probably hammered home at this point, both sides have been struggling and both sides desperately need the points. You would normally, in this situation, just go with the home side, so that's probably what I'm going to have to do. You maybe Brendan Barnes pops up, maybe a Blake Carpenter. Christian Carvalho has scored a couple of spectacular goals so far this campaign, so maybe one of them can pop up and do something to get Dandenong Thunder over the line for a much-needed win tonight.
Yes, as we see Damian Ionis on the ball. Good play. Defensive play by Mercer Mehmedi. Blake Carpenter, who's a real line wire for Dandenong Funda, got 4 goals and 5 assists to his name, so he's definitely been an impressive signing since joining the Dandenong South-based outfit from Adelaide United youth team. Of course, his former coach, Hus Genderovic, is the technical director here at Dandenong Funda. Muadzwed on the ball here. It's been bundled down. Referee didn't think it was a free kick, but Kingston City have got themselves a corner kick here. Looks like it will be Muadzwed who will be the one delivering the ball in. Of course, Zwed's corner goes in. of Fethagic. Ball's at the feet of Georgopoulos here, who plays forward to Barnes. Well defended by Ali Soleimani. Nick Modafari. Oh, but a poor giveaway. Lets in Ionis, and Pierce Clark had to divert it away for a corner. Poor defensive mistake there from Dandenong Funda, and maybe Damian Ionis should have done a bit more with it.
Well, you can just tell from the very early stage of this one that Kingston have come out, well, like a house on fire, really. The energy is high. They're looking to catch Dandenong Thunder on their heels. They really want to strike early and take the wind out of this Thunder side.
Yes, and Pierce Clark, as he has been called upon many times during the course of this season, I'm sure he'd be looking to get his first clean sheet of the campaign. That's not to say he hasn't been in splendid form for much of the campaign. Corner comes in. It's been cleared away by Marche. Theo to Zwed. Zwed's swinging cross to the head of Sakizada, who, of course, is a former Dandenong Funda player. Speaking of familiarity between the two teams, Nick Modafari in the Dandenong Funda defence is a former Kingston City player. So, Kingston City lining up with new goalkeeper Osugi in goals. Ali Soleimani is deputising for Daniel Bennett at right back. Simo Jovanovic and Faisal Sakizada at the heart of the defence, with Aydin Fethagic as the left back. Anthony Iancello marshals the midfield alongside Chris Irwin and Anthony Fio, with Damian Ionis, Moad Zwed and Hernan Inostroza up front for Kingston City.
Wow, you were talking a bit there about Nicholas Modafieri there. One of the things I did come across during my research, he was also named in the Corner Flags NPL 2 East Team of the Season back in 2016 with the Thunder. Nice little plug for your site there, Damian.
Former, it's still around, so I'm sure there'll be a few clicks here and there when people are doing their research on respective NPL players. Also, remember tonight we are live and interactive like we always are, so feel free to keep the comments coming in on the Facebook stream. Of course, you can watch us on the NPL Victoria Facebook page as well as the NPL Victoria YouTube page. And hello to wherever you are in the world watching us. Feel free to let us know. Dandenong Funda's team lineup tonight. We'll see Pierce Clark in goal. Christian Carvalho is the left back. Mercer Mehmedi and Jack Musgrave in the centre, with Nick Modafari as the right back. In the middle of the park, you have Ionis Georgopoulos and new signing Anthony Desic, with Kieran Dover, the more advanced midfielder. Brandon Barnes, Blake Carpenter, and Omar Marche is in a more advanced position, having spent much of this campaign at right back. If you've watched a few Funda games, I would have remarked the fact that he, up until this season, has primarily been used as a wide forward in previous stints with Avondale and Oakley Cannons. So I'm sure he'd be quite happy to be in a more forward position as Dover tumbles over and he wins himself a foul there.
We're already seeing very early in this one from the Thunder that Brandon Barnes, probably as he is used to at this point, is being left on an island quite a lot by the Thunder. There a few times when they've been looking to break, they're going to rely on him to hold the ball up, play that traditional big number 9 hold-up role as the pacey wingers try to get past him. So a lot will, as it always does for the Thunder, I guess, a lot will rely on what he can do if the Thunder are to get a result tonight.
Most definitely, as we see Irwin trying to play in Inostroza, the new Kingston signing, formerly of Altona City in State League 1. Also had a stint in his native Chile with Club Trasandino. Crowd here at Dackland Stadium building up. You did mention that 2016 season a few minutes ago, Joey. One thing that I can tell you from that season is both teams were going toe-to-toe for promotion in NPL 2. Funda spent majority of the season at the top of the table pretty much, and Kingston City came here in, I think it was around 26 of 28, needing a win. Dandenong Funda had lost Faisal Sakizada and, from memory, Daniel Bennett through injury. And Kingston City came away with a 4-3 win in a thrilling 7-goal encounter between the two teams. In fact, I think it might have been Box Hill United attacker and occasional NPL Victoria commentator Ron McNamee that got the winner that night. So there's plenty of history between those two teams. And despite that victory from Kingston City that night, they almost bottled the promotion because Dandenong Funda were winning 3-0 against Springboard White Eagles in the last ever season. Kingston City were trailing behind 1-0 at the hands of Brunswick City, and out of nowhere, in the 96th minute, Damian Ionis snatched an equaliser to send Kingston City up and condemn Dandenong Funda to another season of NPL 2 football. But good to see both sides have become a permanent fixture of NPL Victoria in the top flight. However, they'll both face an uphill battle to consolidate their place in the top flight, given their current status.
Absolutely. I mean, Kingston probably in more danger, you'd say, than the Thunder at this stage. Thunder currently occupying that promotion and relegation playoff slot, but Kingston only one win of the season back in round 5 against South Melbourne. So we're into June now. We're at the point of the season where it's not a slow start anymore. This is just your regular form. So if you're going to survive in the top flight of Victorian football and make something of it, you've got to start picking together the wins together now. So this. I know you were hesitant to call it a must-win game, Damian, but for me, I'd almost call it a must-win game for both of these sides. If you are going to survive in the top flight and avoid relegation, you need to beat the sides around you. You need to take points off those rivals in the fight for survival. So, absolutely huge game for both sides tonight.
I think it's been reflected with the attacking lineup of both sides. Too often we've seen Funda really heavily reliant on Brandon Barnes up front, and with Blake Carpenter and Kieran Dover to be the attacking threats in support of the Englishman. But you'd imagine with Omar Marche playing in a wide forward role, and also the inclusion of Anthony Desic in the Funda starting 11, that they'll be more of an attacking threat, as we see Yancello commit a foul there on Kieran Dover. Just held him back there and impeded his run. Despite Funda's struggles, I think one of their bright sparks this campaign, in addition to the likes of Brandon Barnes and Blake Carpenter, has been Christian Carvalho, who a few weeks ago, I think you, Joey, heard some information that he was going on trial to the Central Coast Mariners. Any updates on that? I mean, I can't imagine that the Mariners would be in pre-season at the moment, still a few weeks of the off-season left, but any updates on Carvalho's proposed trial with the A-League Swallow Dwellers?
Well, there's a number of Carvalho, no new news on that, but he is, of course, one of the few players that went on trial with the Mariners. Blake Carpenter, another one from the Thunder that went up in trial, as well as Josh Wilkins went up on trial, I think, as did Anthony Dugel from Melbourne Knights, and a few others. I think Jerry Salados possibly got a look in as well. So Alan Stajic there, who has been in the news as a shot comes in at Kingston, clear the ball away. Stajic, who has been in the news for slightly other reasons in the last couple of days, casting the net out far and wide. And if you are the Mariners, what is there to lose by casting your net wide over the NPL system? We saw how much success they had with Matt Miller last season. Unfortunately, they didn't have much success in keeping him. He's now off to the Newcastle Jets. But if you are a side like the Mariners, who have struggled for so long, I mean, at one point they actually filled the requirements to be relegated. Who knew such a thing existed in the A-League? But there are performance requirements that allow you to be, and they fulfilled them. So if you are the Mariners, why recycle more old A-League players? Why not cast your net wide over these NPL players who are desperate, who are hungry, who are keen to demonstrate what they can do? And let's not, maybe for the Mariners as well, they're cheap. So they'll come up there, they'll give you everything, and hopefully we'll see the likes of Carvalho and Carpenter and Wilkins and Salados getting a chance, if not with the Mariners, then somebody else over the next few years.
Ditto, Joey. Completely echo those sentiments, and hopefully we'll see more and more of NPL Victoria's best talents getting that promotion up to the A-League. Of course, there is a separate issue there in terms of A-League compensation to NPL clubs, but we won't touch upon it as we stick with play, as we see Carpenter's cross cleared out for a corner kick by Simo Jovanovic. going to be Christian Carvalho to deliver this corner kick. Carvalho's corner finds Barnes, flick on, cleared away by Yancello, and it'll be a Dandenong Funda throw in here. In the hands of Christian Carvalho. We do have a progress score update, of course. This isn't the only NPL Victoria game tonight. We have a number of others taking place, one of which is Port Melbourne Sharks up against Avondale. 49 minutes gone in that one, and Avondale still hold a 1-0 lead following a third-minute goal by Ricabene. Not sure whether it was James or Phil, but the Avengers do have a lead after a pretty disappointing week for them, you've got to say. Firstly, with that 0-0 draw against relegation battling Dandenong City last week, and then compounded by an FA Cup exit against the Melbourne Knights at Summer Street Stadium. The Avengers did take the lead there through Yusuf Ahmed, but the Knights pegged them back twice. Hamish Watson, with the eventual winner, sees the highly fancied Avengers bow out of the FA Cup, and we won't see a repeat of their semi-final heroics from quarter-final heroics from last season. Of course, weren't the only big names to bow out, with Bentley Greens also falling victim to a George Howard brace at ABD Stadium on Wednesday night, with Hume City defeating the Greens and continuing their mammoth cup run, which has also seen them defeat Heidelberg United.
Ah, exactly. Hume do love a cup set, don't they? They knocked out Heidelberg already. Now they've taken out the Bentley Greens, and last year they also knocked out South Melbourne at the first time of asking. So Hume do love to take these NPL Victoria sides that are looking to make a deep cup run and soak up some of that national exposure and some of those ticket sales that come with a round of 32 run. And very lucky we were to get a Facebook live stream of that game between Avondale and the Knights, and it was, you could tell how much it meant to the Knights. They haven't been in the round of 32 for quite a while, which is a bit of a shame, really, because you know that if they were to draw an A-League side, they would pack that place out. One of my dreams is to see Melbourne Victory away to Melbourne Knights in an FFA Cup game. So hopefully we'll see, possibly, if I can put my biased journalist hat on for a second, hopefully we see South Melbourne and the Melbourne Knights avoid each other in the next round of the FFA Cup, and we see them both go through to the national stage, and we can get some really massive crowds showing what NPL sides can do on the national stage.
Well, if I do recall correctly, actually, Joey, in both 2014 and 2015, they actually faced each other off in preliminary stages of the competition. In 2014, it was the Knights that got the better of South Melbourne, and in 2015, South got their revenge. Of course, the Knights, the last time that they were in the FA Cup national round of 32, and round 16 actually was in 2016, as we see a shot come in from Kingston City there. I think it was Anthony Theo, the man who unleashed. Of course, a recent signing from Dandenong City, who are just located pretty much up the road. If you go up onto Stud Road and then turn right onto Headland and left onto Power, you're at Frank Holohan Soccer Complex, and they'd be delighted with last night's 3-0 victory over South Melbourne, which, of course, saw Brendan Stranthilab score a double, refereed by Sean Evans, so there was a bit of flashbacks to that A-League Grand Final for those two, but also we send our thoughts out to Adrian Leah, who did sustain a quite graphic injury. I think it required in the end 23 stitches in just his second game for Dandenong City, so hopefully he won't be out for too long.
Well, hopefully for Adrian's health, he won't be out too long, because you never like to see what happened to the poor bloke in that game. And, of course, I wish him, and I know all of our viewers wish him all the best in his recovery. But also, if you're Dandy City, you'd want him back sooner rather than later. I mean, I know some people have their doubts about bringing in these ex-Our League players mid-season to the NPL, but when you're in a relegation battle, all is fair in love and war. Bringing in Santalab and Carvalho as well as Leah. So for Dandy City's sake, last night, great result against the South side, who somewhat quietly, which is not a word we often associate with South Melbourne, had been putting together an excellent run of form, just skittling them to the tune of 3-0 to perhaps maybe a mid-season revival for Dandy City. I mean, we saw last year just how tight this league can get come finals time. So you never say never. Who knows if they can take the addition of this veteran talent and go on a run, if not for trying to push for that top 6 in the end, at least put some distance between themselves and the relegation zone.
Most definitely, and South Melbourne have been of impressive form of late. Of course, last week, won a 5-goal thriller against the Bentley Greens at Lakeside Stadium. Particularly the likes of Giuseppe Marafiotti and Jerry Shalados have been in top form, as we see the Kingston subs walk past us for a warm-up. Definitely a bit of attacking threat there with the likes of Alex Cornelia, Erhan Yalaz, David Antiquera, and Dante Conte on board. See a foul there on Blake Carpenter. Desic on the ball to Georgopoulos. Back to Mehmedi. Mehmedi looks at Barnes, who tried to turn, but he was well marshalled there by Sakizada, who tag-teamed with Jovanovic. Kingston's attempted ball up forward comes to nothing. And we did also have some more news on the transfer front for Dandenong Funda. He's not in the squad tonight, but I believe that they have signed a new defender, Joey.
Yeah, Shane McKerney, I believe he is. He's an Irish centre-back. He's come down, well, he's the latest to jump on that pipeline that is from NPL Queensland to NPL Victoria. Had a stint with the absolutely fantastically named Magpie Crusaders, who have one of the best crests in all of football. If you're nearby the Googles, make sure you jump on and get a chance to see that. So Thunder, like I said, with Dandy City bringing in the reinforcements near the relegation zone. Thunder doing so as well, because it doesn't quite carry the same price tag as maybe you'd get relegation from the Premier League to the Championship, but nobody likes being relegated to NPL 2, do they, Damian?
Yeah, particularly in NPL 2, that it will undergo vast reforms over the summer with the split into an NPL 2 and an NPL 3, or a projected split, as we see Chris Irwin caught offside there. I have been told that McKerney is a former teammate of Funda midfielder, or currently injured midfielder, Josh Bragg in Scandinavia. So, one Visa player who's not on the park, can't be on the park due to his season-ending ACL injury, helping the club out by recruiting another one in McKerney, who will be tasked with stabilising that Dandenong Funda defence, which, as I mentioned earlier, is yet to grab onto a clean sheet this campaign. Long ball by Jovanovic, searching for Ionis. Well in by Mehmedi. Ionis, back to Zwed. Back to Ionis. Great play from Kingston here. Ionis just a bit too much on it as you look for Inastruza. Nil all in tonight's other games between Heidelberg United and Green Gully, as well as that clash at Paisley Park Soccer Complex between Altona Magic and the Melbourne Knights.
You could just see in this one, Damir, after that initial frantic start from Kingston, trying to get in there early and maybe pinch a quick march on the Thunder opposition, the game's beginning to settle into somewhat more of an equilibrium, in the sense that the Thunder are having some chances. Both teams are trying to push the pace if they are able to, but into a bit more of an arm wrestle here now, as one would probably expect from a meeting between a side bottom and third bottom of the NPL table.
Ball's at the feet of Kieran Dover here. Looks to play in Carpenter, who's done well to keep it in. Carpenter back to Dover. Dover's cross, looks to Barnes. Sakizada did well to get to it first. Bit of pinball. Musgrave heads it away. Ball's at the feet of Desic. But that projected attack will come to nothing for Dandenong Funda. We do have a score update from Paisley Park Soccer Complex, where Melbourne Knights have taken a 1-0 lead only a couple of minutes ago against Altona Magic, so big scoreline for them to complement that cup upset. over Avondale midweek. And I guess, I know it's early days, but might vindicate the board's decision to part ways with Mickey Trelina last week. Time will tell whether that was the right decision, but early on, certainly looks to be the case with Melbourne Knights turning their form around by knocking off the Avengers on Tuesday evening and now leading 1-0 away to an Altona team that was really struggling up until last week's come from behind 4-2 win against Green Gully. Kingston on Demarchia Zwed, audacious attempt, but was quite ambitious, didn't come too much.
Zwed famous, of course, for being not only a Kingston player but also representing Melbourne Victory in the E-League. Maybe thought he was playing a bit of FIFA there with that cheeky outside the boot shot. Shout out to Ray Gatt.
Not sure if it's worked for him on the football field, but you'd probably assume that it's worked on the esports circuit.
It's all about those social media followers, Damian, getting all those esport fans in.
Pro rel for E-League, Joey. So we see Iancello on the ball. He'll go back to his goalkeeper, Sugi, who is tonight playing, I believe, his third game for Kingston City, having made the mid-season switch from Melbourne City of State League 1. Speaking of State League 1, Richmond last night with an impressive 4-2 win over Dufton to close the gap at the top of the State League 1 Southeast standings. A whole bunch of fixtures in NPL 2 that will also go across. But exciting times for a number of clubs as the promotion and relegation spots tend to heat up during this time of the campaign. To see a ball looking for Barnes. Jovanovic had to be alert to it and headed away. Carvalho to Carpenter. Cleared away by Soleimani. Desic to Musgrave. A bit of a lull in the game, so we'll take you through those NPL 2 results. Eastern Lions 1, Moreland Zebras 3. So a good away victory for the Zebras against the high-flying Lions at Gardeners Creek Reserve.
Shout out to Josh Parrish, who was leading the FNR call out on that game, a guest of the Eastern Lions on that one.
Wasn't a good luck charm, seemingly. Langwarren 1, Whittlesea Rangers 4. So Whittlesea Rangers have definitely turned their form around of late. So we see Zwed on the ball here. What can he do? He's up against Modafari. Zwed ran into a cul-de-sac, really, and it's going to be Dandenong Funda's ball. So, yeah, all credit to Whittlesea Rangers for that one. Fantastic victory for them. And they're certainly under up, and they're being spearheaded by the former Kingston City captain in Ryan Love. Moreland City 4, Northcote City 1. So, bad week for Northcote City. It just got a whole lot worse following their FA Cup defeat to the Bulleen Lions on Wednesday night. Werribee City 1, Manningham United 0. So, the Bees get themselves a nice home win after bowing out in the cup following a 1-0 home loss to the more highly fancied Oakley Cannons. Box Hill United, Brunswick City 2-2 draw. We'll get to that one in a second because that's the one that you did call, Joey. Ballarat City 0, Murray United 5. So an impressive win away from home for Murray United, who I'm sure won't be minding the return trip to the border following that triumph. Bulleen Lions 1, North Geelong 2. So North Geelong Warriors continue their good form of late with that impressive victory at David Barrow Stadium. And Goulburn Valley Suns 0, St Albans 0, although we have been told that that one will be updated at full time. So what does that do for the standings? So Werribee City consolidate top spot in the West, 33 points. Although St Albans, if they win tonight, will leapfrog him to with 35 points. Moreland Zebras third, North Geelong fourth, 30 and 29 points respectively. Moreland City is fifth with 24 points. Brunswick City 19, Geelong 19, Melbourne Victory U 14, Whittlesea Rangers 13, and Ballarat City, This sorry season continues. Dead last, in fact, with only a meager 3 points to their name and just one win under their belt from a possible 15 games. In the East, Eastern Lions still remain top on 30 points. Bulleen Lions weren't able to take advantage of the Lions slip up in their loss to the Warriors. They're on 27 points. Langwarrin in third in 23. So all the top three teams lost, as did Northcote City. So the top four teams all lost in the East, as did Manningham United, who are fifth. So we'll correct that to top five teams lost. Will it be six with Goulburn Valley Suns? We're not too sure about that one yet. Their game against St. Albans Saints is in progress. Murray United seventh on 16 points. As we see, stick to play for a second as we see Christian Carvalho about to take this free kick for the Funda. Carvalho's free kick almost found ahead of Mercer Mamedi. It's a defeat of Modafari here. Tussle between him and a Kingston player ends up being in the favour of the Kingston man. Box Hill United, 8th with 15 points. 9th, Melbourne City Youth with 14 points. And Springvale White Eagles are last with only 12 points to their name. Joey, take us through that game at Wembley Park between Box Hill United and Brunswick City.
Well, it was a remarkable game in that we had the first two goals really came in the first 20 minutes of the action. Matyang, a familiar name, I'm sure, to a number of NPL followers, devotees, formerly of Heidelberg United and Port Melbourne. Unfortunately, own goal for his new side in just the third minute, scrambling, attempting to clear away across. Well, I thought it was an own goal. Looking at the replay, I'm not sure if that's the official stat. But then in the 18th minute, Brunswick were able to drag the game back to an equilibrium when Tillman Stewart just was on the end of a cutback and calmly slotted it into the bottom left corner. But that's how it would stay until the 85th minute of the contest, where after a second half in which Brunswick, you would have to say, completely dominated the game. They pegged Box Hill back into their own defensive half, launched attack after attack after attack. At one point, Nate Foster launched a vicious shot towards goal that it went wide, but it didn't find the target, but it did find the back.
Brandon Barnes finds the back of the net, but he has been called for offside there. So a warning sign for Kingston, perhaps. They don't watch the threat of Brandon Barnes that he can cost you. Obviously, for him and Dandenong Funda, wasn't to be there with the Englishman being in an offside position as Kingston looked to play the ball across field to Moaz Wed, but Carvalho had to be alert to the danger.
No, big, bad, bustling Brendan Barnes. You've always got to be on the lookout for him. He's not too quick off the mark, but if he gets going, he can certainly punish you. But yeah, as I was saying, Brunswick really peppered the goal of Box Hill throughout the second half. At one point, Nate Foster, he couldn't find the back of the net, but he certainly was able to find the rear window of a car parked behind the goals, shattering that with a fierce left-footed shot. But then in the 85th minute of play, it wasn't Brunswick, but instead Box Hill that were able to find the net when Rowan McNamee slotted home a penalty past Sebastian Matai to make it 2-1. And at that point, we all thought it was over and done with. You could see that Brunswick were flat, but somehow they gathered themselves and started throwing men forward, and you had the ball was swung in. Matt Conversano, who came on as a substitute, chested it down. And then Darby Dexter, the centre-back of all people, he'd come up for the set piece and stayed there. He was there to chip the ball over the top of Box Hill goalkeeper Chris Pavlidis to tie things up and make it 2-2 and that ensured that the shares were spoiled at Wembley Park. It was quite an excellent game to watch.
Good to hear, as we saw a heavy challenge a few seconds ago by Ian Challo. Funda did get the advantage, but they weren't able to make much of it, and neither is Kingston from that poor giveaway there by Theo. And the referee will come back to Ian Challo and give him a yellow card. Funda's attempted to play a quick throw-in, but it wasn't to be the case. Referee tonight is Alex Nikolovsky. Desic on the ball. At the feet of Mehmeti now. Good pressure there by Ionis, who's definitely looking to break his goal drought. Only 3 goals so far this campaign. His struggles in front of goals have been somewhat reflective of Kingston's, although to be fair to Ionis, he has been battling injuries in recent weeks. As you see a bit of a flare-up there by Carpenter and Suleimani. Muaz Wed went in there as well. Wasn't much need. We'll see if it results in anything discipline-wise for any of those players involved. It was initially Carpenter and Suleimani who went head-to-head, and Zwed came in there to push Carpenter away, although he might have been a bit overzealous. As we see, Mache and the Ancello having to be separated there as well, behind play. So plenty for the officials to take note of there.
And just an update around the grounds on the hour mark at Olympic Village. Heidelberg United have taken a 1-0 lead over visiting Green Gully. Tom Cahill capitalising on a spilled save to poke the ball home and put Heidelberg on their way towards what they will hope will be a 3 points, so they can keep the pressure on Avondale atop the NPL table.
See Carvalho's in-swinger into the head of Mehmeti. Breaks out here to Amache, but cleared away by Feta Hagic. Clark, the big Queenslander, on the ball. Looks for Carpenter. Almost found him, but the South Australian was offside there. Of course, a big night of football ahead with the Champions League final in Madrid between Tottenham Hotspur and Liverpool upon us. Any predictions for that one, Joey?
If Liverpool wins, the rest of us lose.
Tend to echo those statements, so I can't complain. Hopefully Tottenham win, although I don't think too many Arsenal fans would be too fond of seeing their mighty rivals getting Europe's top honour before them, particularly after the week they've had with that shambolic 4-1 defeat to Chelsea in Baku.
Well, one might say that entire Europa League final in general was shambolic, but not wanting to get too political about it, but yeah, shambolic.
Yeah, hard not to argue given just the nature of the game, the lead-up, the Mkhitaryan situation, the empty seats, and so on. So, sensible UEFA have, of course, got Baku down to be a co-host for the European Championships next season. So, best hope that Armenia don't qualify. Otherwise, we're having another controversy there. And, of course, big friendly tonight as well for the Matildas, who face one of Europe's best teams in the Netherlands in a pre-World Cup friendly. So all the best to the girls in that one. Asugi. Nervous clearance. Almost allowed Carpenter to go free, and he just lost his footing there. Had he not, you might have fancied the Funda being 1-0 up there, and Kingston City survive a major scare there with some sloppiness by their goalkeeper, almost resulting in a Dandenong Funda goal. Fortunately for them, Carpenter, as I noted, lost his footing there.
It's really becoming noticeable as this game goes on that the Thunder, when they are going forward, their most dangerous-looking attacks are coming down this left flank containing Carvalho and Carpenter, the two Cs. They're really showing their class, and when they're able to get the ball out on this left flank and maybe look to get in and feed the ball to Barnes or apply the pressure and force a turnover, as Carpenter did there, that's where Dandenong are really looking lethal at this point. So pressure on the Kingston, the right side of the Kingston lineup to really lock this down, because if they get going, danger signs here for the bottom-placed NPL Victoria side.
Now, I did ask you for your predictions earlier but given the fact that Dandenong Funda are yet to win a game at home, Also given the fact that Kingston are yet to win a game away from home and are on a 9-game winless run. Do you say that based on the play as well, that this game has a draw written all over it?
I wouldn't say written all over it at this point. I mean, both sides are generating some sort of attacks forward. We saw Ionis perhaps should have done slightly better with a shot he had on goal earlier in this half, and Zwed's maybe...
Speaking of Zwed, he's on the ball here. Played out back to Suleimani. Suleimani and Ionis with the spectacular. Wasn't able to find the target, but credit to him for trying.
Well, slightly disappointed Ionis didn't find the target there, because we'd be going viral if he had done there, Damian. But no, as I was saying before, Ionis tried the spectacular. Both sides are creating some sort of chances, maybe finding their way into this game. You would think, looking at it, there is at least one goal in this game from where I'm looking at. With a player like, of course, Ionis for Kingston City and Brandon Barnes for Dandenong Thunder, they are capable of creating something out of nothing, or maybe it could be set-piece magic from someone. So I'm not quite prepared to write it off as a draw just yet, but maybe come back to me again at around the hour mark.
We'll do as we see Theo on the ball, but Mehmeti strong in the challenge there, and it wasn't giving much away. Free kick here for Kingston City. It's going to be Zwed, who's going to take this one. So good set-piece opportunity for the visitors as we tick over 38 minutes on the clock here. Zved. Disappointing, but it almost caught Piers Clark off guard. And it will result in a goal kick. So I think that's quite reflective of the nature of playing this first half. A lot of promise, but just lacking the final delivery, as we've seen on a number of occasions. And will still remain scoreless as we head into the final few minutes of this half.
Of course, it is, of course, pretty easy to joke about him given his E-League habits and the like, but he has, in his bright green boots, making him easy to pick out, been probably one of Kingston's better performers tonight. And you've got as Kingston break down the road, but it's well put out for a throw-in by Dandenong. You've got to give Zwed credit, because this is a lad, of course, that suffered a pretty serious knee injury not too long ago. Pretty much missed, I think it was all but maybe one game.
No, he missed the entirety of the 2018 NPL season. So he sustained the injury in the penultimate round of the 2017 NPL season away at Heidelberg United. Missed a whole year of football and a bit more out. So credit to him for bouncing back, and he's been one of Kingston's better performers in recent weeks, despite their struggles in form, as we see Sakizada distribute a ball out left to Fethagic. Irwin keeps it alive, dances over his opponent, into the midfield to Iancello, out wide to Fethagic. Swed. Sorry, Inostroza, that is. Iancello, disappointing. Give away a possession there to marshal the ball out. And the previous meeting between these two teams this campaign saw Dandenong Funda run out impressive 3-1 victors in that one. One of the goal scorers on that night, Alon Blumgard, has, of course, as we noted earlier, departed Duckland Stadium. Christian Carvalho got his first goal for Funda on that evening, in addition to a Max Etheridge own goal. Etheridge, another departure from Kingston City in recent weeks. So we saw Carvalho attempt to play in a ball across goal, but it flashed across it without any danger to the Kingston City net. Asugi plays it out to Sakizada. Ball's at the feet of the former Afghan international, but he'll play it back to his goalkeeper. Now, in terms of Asugi, I did mention that he was previously at Melbourne City, but he is from Japan, so can you tell us a bit about his Japanese pedigree, Joey?
Yeah, well, he's a 22-year-old lad, one of what you'd have to say is quite a number of Japanese players that we have running around here in NPL Victoria. I mean, some clubs have more Japanese players on their books than there were Asian players in the A-League last year. So very good to see another one coming out. He's 22 years old from Nippon Sports Science University Soccer Club in Japan. So, of course, Japan are one of the schools, not quite to the same extent.
We see a shot by Zwed, take a deflection as it goes out for a corner kick. Continue on, Joey.
Yeah, Japan are one of those countries that do like export quite a lot of their players around Asia and around the world. So it's good to see another one. You don't often see Japanese goalkeepers being exported around the world, though. So it's going to be very interesting to see what he does here in the second tier of Australian football. You would have to think, given the plethora of goalkeepers one has in Australia, it seems to be one of the positions Australia actually does produce quality very regularly. It might be difficult for him to go on with it from the second tier, but
Set a corner taken in by Inisrosa. The feet of Ionis. Marshals the ball there. It's up against Amache, who's on his toes. Back to Theo. Theo's crossfield pass needs to be accurate, and it wasn't. And it's resulted in a giveaway of possession there for Kingston City with a Funda throw in right in front of us here through Blake Carpenter. Carpenter finds Barnes. Barnes attempted to find Amache floating in, but it wasn't to be. It was well cleared by Fethagic, his direct opponent. Now, Inisrosa on the ball, but Carvalho forced it out for a throw-in. Suleimani finds Theo, but couldn't get the right touch on the ball. Mehmedi to Georgopoulos. Georgopoulos looks to play in Carpenter, but Asugi safely gathers into his arms. And he'll play his right back, Suleimani. Suleimani going long for Inisrosa. But it just ends up into the hands of Pierce Class. We got another 90 seconds of regulation time before we get to stoppage time, which we believe will be 1 minute. And no, it will be 1 minute, although according to the clock here, there's still another minute and a bit to go. Stick with play here. Cross comes in. Searching for a Funda man, but it's missed everyone and it's wound up at the feet of Carvalho. But Suleimani deflected it out for a throw-in. No, the clock is wrong here. We have ticked over 45 minutes, so we still have another 30 or so seconds left of this half. Not much to write about, but we'll see if that will change here with Carpenter. And Asugi got a touch on it, I think. No, he didn't. And it's a goal kick. I think Carpenter did well to lash that shot across goal. Thought the Japanese shot stopper might have gotten a fingertip onto it, but it wasn't to be the case. You definitely think so too, Joey?
No, I think that, as well as the fans that had a pretty good view of it from our side, I definitely think maybe the linesman has got it wrong there and that the Japanese gloveman did palm it away slightly. So perhaps a let off for Kingston late. They won't have to defend a set piece in the dying seconds of this half.
Probably got to say this will be that. And it most definitely is. So, goalless here at Duckland Stadium as we head into the halftime break. Dandenong Funda 0, Kingston City 0. Kingston had a good opportunity inside the first few minutes of the contest with Ionis pouncing on a defensive mishap from the Funda defence, but Clark was able to parry the ball away for a corner kick, and similar circumstances almost led in Dandenong Funda and Blake Carpenter later in the half, but he wasn't able to keep his footing. Aside from that, Brandon Barnes had a half chance, but there's really not been too much to write about in a disappointing half, which I guess echoes and is reflective of the team's respective positions on the NPL Victoria standings.
Yeah, absolutely, Damian. If I was filing on this game, I'd be pretty disappointed at this point. I'd be looking at about 300 words of colour rather than an actual description of the game. But, as you
Welcome back to Duckland Stadium for this round 15 NPL Victoria clash between Dandenong Funda and Kingston City, which is evenly poised at halftime with either team yet to break the deadlock here as the referee signals for the start of that second half here. Joey, do you expect much to change? Obviously, a very cagey, cautious first half from both teams, lack of genuine goal-scoring opportunities.
Well, I mean, I'm not sure I'd say I expect it, but sunny disposition that I do like to try to maintain. One would hope so, that we get something more going in the second half. We had brief flashes, Blake Carpenter and Christian Carvalho for the Thunder getting some stuff going down the left, Ionis and Zwed having a few chances for Kingston City, so hopefully we'll see those chances not turn from half chances into full-fledged goals in this second half.
Ian Cello plays in Soleimani to Ionis. To Irwin. Ball at the feet of Jovanovic. Looks for Soleimani. Just doesn't have the motor to get to that ball there. Which was just had a bit too much on it. No halftime substitutions to bring you, but we did definitely have plenty of drama in the other games, the other NPL Victoria games tonight, with 3 equalisers in all 3 of those games. So Caleb Mikulic gave Melbourne Knights a 1-0 lead on the hour mark. Robert Stambolziev got the equaliser in the 89th minute. At JL Murphy Reserve, Avondale were 1-0 up from half-time, but they conceded it in the 86th minute. Yet to bring you the goal scorer for that one. But in the other game, Heidelberg United had a chance to close the gap on Avondale. And despite leading 1-0, thanks to a 61st minute Tom Cahill strike, they were pegged back in the 84th minute, thanks to Gully substitute T-Boy Kamara. 2 minutes later, Chris Riadridis gave them a perfect opportunity to win the game from the spot, but the goalkeeper saw his penalty saved by his compatriot Jared Tyson, as we see Kingston almost let in there. But Mehmedi cleared the ball away. Vethagic to Zwed. Ball goes out off Modafari and for a Kingston City corner. So a good early second half set piece opportunity here for the visitors. What can Zwed muster up this time around? Zwed, well cleared away by Musgrave. Only as far as Irwin. Iancello looks for Soleimani, or Ionis, beg your pardon. But Mehmedi did well to clear that ball upfield. And Barnes has beaten Asugi. Ball at the feet of Brandon Barnes. Looks to play into Marche, and he couldn't get the right connection on it. As Kingston cleared the ball away, not once but twice. So a great opportunity there for Dandenong Funda. Came out of nothing really with Mercer Mehmedi's long clearance. Ultimately finding Brandon Barnes, who beat the goalkeeper to the ball. Squared it for Amache. Didn't do much wrong, Barnes himself, but Amache wasn't able to apply the necessary finish to trouble the visitors and to break the deadlock here.
Well, if you are a Marche in that situation, I'm afraid you've got to score in that situation. You're third bottom of the table, playing against the bottom side. Golden opportunity. Barnes has created, as you said, something out of nothing as Kingston break here forward, but that's well. So.
Great save there by Pierce Clark to deny Kingston from getting the opener there. I must say that a Macho chance, probably harder than it looks, but I tend to agree. He should have definitely at least gotten it on target, and had he gotten it on target, given the goalkeeper's positioning, you might have expected him to have scored. Ball's at his feet now. Omar Marche. Shoots. Deflection. Took the power off it and safely into the arms of Asugi.
Just one, there were no substitutions to report at one time, but it appears that one change on the Kingston side. Zwed, who spent most of the first half on the right flank, he stayed here on the media box side here at Duckland Stadium, now employed on the left side of the Kingston attack.
Yes, with Ineffective central and Ionis on the right-hand side. So Kingston will definitely be looking for a more potent second half. As we see a set-piece opportunity for the visitors again through a corner kick. Ineffective will take it. The Chileans in swinger. Mehmeti well headed away, only as far as Irwin. He sets himself up for the shot, deflected. And Funda might have a counter. No, Carpenter couldn't get the control onto the ball, and it's back in the possession of Kingston City. Although not for long as the ball goes out harmlessly for a goal kick. It's been that sort of evening for both sides.
Vehicle ABP 951. Please move your vehicle. That's ABP 951. Thank you.
Musgrave looks for Barnes. He's found him. Brandon Barnes to Matre. Not a good opportunity for the youngster, not taken. It's inadvertently set up. Blake Carpenter here on the left-hand side. He's 1v1 up against his opponent. Carpenter almost there. Dover just wide. Couple of golden opportunities there for the home team, but they weren't able to take it, and they've let the visitors off the hook there big time, Joey.
Absolutely. I mean, a couple of golden chances here in quick succession for the Thunder. I hate to belabor a point, but at this point, those are the things that at the end of the season, when you're looking back, those are the what-ifs, the big, what if we'd scored here, what if we'd taken point, what if we'd grabbed the goal there in that six-pointer. If you are the Thunder in the ascendancy and in a period where chances have come at a premium in a game like this, you've got to take chances like that. Brandon Barnes, normally you'd be expecting him to be banging home the goals. This time he's turned provider a number of times. Other chances coming up. You've got to capitalise on that if you are the Thunder, because who knows when you're going to get another golden chance like that in a game like this.
Most definitely, and I think Veton Kochari, the Thunder coach, striker in his playing days, which of course were as recent as last season, would have been loving to have gotten an opportunity like that. Certainly would have liked to think he would have made the most of it, and having seen him play a number of times, he most probably would have. But it's just one of those nights for Dandenong Funda where, particularly in this second half, they've had a few good opportunities that they haven't taken. Can Zwed punish him? He's on the ball here, up against Modafari. Zwed, well defended by Modafari, who's done very well there to not only alleviate the threat of Moad Zwed, but also win himself a free kick there. Now we'll run you through those substitutions for both teams. Stephen Hatzikurtis, Kingston City's second choice goalkeeper. Dante Conte, David Antiquera, as well as Alex Cornelia and Erhan Yalaz. They're the two real big attacking threats off the bench for Kingston City. For Dandenong Funda, they have the second choice goalkeeper, Kane Runji, Sevdim Ismaili, Halil Rekic, as well as new signing, Dean Piemonte, and also Jake Cuscieri. So, definitely a bit of firepower for both teams. Piemonte and Cornelia are the two most distinguished substitutions, respectively, that each team can pull off the bench. As we see Theo on the ball here, he's got Zwed in support. He elects not to use him. Goes back inside to the centre of the park to Chris Irwin. Chris Irwin had Damian Ionis, but it was good tracking back from Carpenter to dispossess the Kingston City man. And it allows Carvalho to attempt to launch an attack, but Fethagic was alert to it, and he's played in Jovanovic. Out wide to Suleimani. Suleimani, cheap giveaway of possession there. Carvalho to Carpenter. Carpenter to Kieran Dover, and only a few seconds after mentioning him, Dean Piemonte is about to enter the park as the first substitution. I think we'll wait for this corner kick to be taken by Christian Carvalho here. Corner's taken in. Header by Carpenter. Had a bit too much power on it. Wasn't able to keep it down. And I think we'll see a change. I think it might be Omar Marche. Yes, it will be indeed. The former Avondale attacker who will make way here for Dan Piemonte in the 54th minute.
Well, you have to wonder if Amarche had been able to convert that early chance here in the second half. Would he be getting dragged at this point?
One of those two opportunities, because he had a couple there.
Yeah, a couple. So when you're in a situation like this, chances at a premium, you've got coaches, well, you can see the lethal side of coaching coming in, no mercy, replacing your striker, your attacker that isn't performing with somebody that can hopefully get the job done.
Zwed tried to play in Inostroza, but ball goes out for a Funda throw-in. Modafari to Dover. Dover goes back to Mehmedi as Funda look to create an attack here. Well played ball over to Carvalho. He has Carpenter in support, but Suleimani did well to get a touch on it. Carpenter has dispossessed him. Carpenter's attempted cross in there, cleared by Sakizada, and he needed to be because Brandon Barnes was waiting right behind him to pounce on any scraps. Carpenter on the ball. He's just slipped up there, and he's been dispossessed as a result by Anthony Fio. Fio just ran into a cul-de-sac there and dispossessed by Desic, who has been quite bright for the Funda tonight. Georgopoulos to Carvalho. Piemonte. And it'll be a corner kick for the Dandenong Funda there, who have definitely stepped up their attacking here in the second half. Definitely more of a threat going forward than they were in that opening 45 minutes. It's going to be Carvalho again to deliver this. Brandon Barnes stood near him for the short corner, but it's not going to be expected as Carvalho goes into the area. Almost found the head. Carvalho, Mehmedi on the post. Carvalho, a Carpenter with the overhead. Wasn't to be. And Dandenong Funda's bad luck in front of goal continues there. Mercer Mehmedi got his foot onto the ball, smacked it into the upright, and it really could have bounced anywhere, but unfortunately for Dandenong Funda, bounced away from goal and cleared out of danger eventually by the Kingston City defence.
Well, I mean, you're at this point now, if you are the Thunder, approaching the 58th minute of the game here in the second half, you've got to be wondering, what do we have to do to score at this point? Chance after chance after chance after chance. As you said, Damian, they've really come out with a pep in their step in the second half. Perhaps they copped a bit of a spray from the coaches at half-time. Maybe it's a bit of a tactical adjustment. Maybe it's Kingston taking their foot off the pedal. Whatever it is, they're getting these chances in on goal now that weren't really coming to them in the first half, but you've got to take them. It's a must-needed 3 points in this one. Dandy City's win last night. It's all to play for tonight for these two, and if you are the Thunder, these chances have to be put away sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Mercer Mehmedi as a centre-back, not known for his prowess in front of goal. And unfortunately for him, really could have gone anyway, but it wasn't to be the case as Piemonte has really re-energised this Dandenong Funda attack. Plays the ball in. Simo Jovanovic clears it away. And I think initially when that cross came in by Carvalho, it found the head of Blake Carpenter. And when he headed it in, I think it might have actually bounced off the back of Mehmedi, who quickly turned around, belted it towards goal, only for it to come back off that right-hand side post and away.
Well, Mersim Mehmedi, he's a very interesting young player, is Mersim. Last year, back in 2018, he was a rarity in this day and age in that he was a young Socceroos representative that was playing for an NPL club. He was selected by who is now Matilda's boss, Ante Milicic, for the 2018 SBS Cup in Japan. No relation to the special broadcast service here in Australia, the SBS Cup. Perhaps fortunate to break into that young Socceroos lineup in the sense that it was a young Socceroos squad in name, but we're only taking under 18 players to that one. But nonetheless, interesting character. He was at Melbourne City Youth for a time as well, alongside Kingston City's Anthony Theodoropoulos. So was blocked by a couple of players at the time. Ali Ewan, who has had a torrid run of injuries since making the move to NPL Victoria, and Lucas Portelli, who is still at City, and Leo Anastasiou, who is now at Northcote after spending some time with Bulleen as well. He was in that defensive pecking order as well, but none of them really able to break into Warren Joyce's senior side. So he's now in NPL Victoria, a couple of years at the Thunder, so an exciting young player to keep an eye on.
Indeed he is, as we see. Kingston cleared the ball away. Madafri to Desic. Desic has done well to keep the ball following Damian Ionis' illegal pressure. Mehmedi to Carvalho. So Carvalho attempting to play in Carpenter, but Carpenter has fouled Suleimani there, and it'll result for a Kingston free kick. Do apologise if there has been a disruption for the Facebook live stream. We have been told that the YouTube stream is still working.
Well, I guess they'll only be hearing that if they are watching the YouTube stream, Damian, so maybe a bit of redundant information there.
Thank you to Josh Paris of the Real A-League Confidential for alerting us to that one. To those whose service has potentially been disrupted, they're not really missing out on much. Offside there against Moad Zwed. Kingston about to bring their first sub onto the park. Not sure who it is yet. It might be Alex Cornelia. No, in fact, it's going to be Dante Conte. As we see a ball attempted to be played into Moadzwed, but Modafari had to do well to clear it away. And we'll see that substitution to be made shortly, or immediately, in fact. Dante Conte will come on for Anthony Iancello. So probably a sensible move from Kingston City's coaching staff to make, given the fact that Anthony Iancello is on a yellow card at the moment.
Well, they just, beyond the fact that you're protecting a player on a yellow card, it's just they need a spark throughout this second half. There has been a slight uptick in the play, but unfortunately for the Kingston side, it has all been made by Dandenong Thunder, really. A number of chances. You'd have to say that maybe, a ball bounces in a different direction, or maybe the ball lands slightly differently on a boot. It could be 1 or 2-0 to the Thunder. So the Kingston bench bringing into action, bringing on the substitutes to try to get something going. We'll see if it works.
Dante Conte, who has made his senior debut for Kingston City this campaign. I believe he made it earlier on in the season away to Pascoval. Is presented with a good opportunity to make something, not only of this game, but also to get his name out there. Because if he can, to beat a player who creates something for Kingston or ends up being the match winner, he'll definitely be in the headlines. But as it stands, still 0-0. Both teams are looking for their moments of inspiration, that hero that will really get them all 3 points. Suleimani clears the ball away, and I think he's had quite a decent showing in that right-back position, Ali Suleimani. He's not normally a right-back. He has been utilised in that role a number of times. Of course, Daniel Bennett, the former Dandenong Funda player, is out through injury, we assume, for Kingston City tonight. So Suleimani deputising there. They've got their other fullback as well, Nathan Tidmarsh, out. So that's why you see Aydin Fethagic continuing at left back, having spent much of the first half of the campaign in that position. As Wed wins the ball there against Georgopoulos, plays in Ionis to Zwed. Is he going to get to the ball first? He will, but Mehmedi was alert to the danger and he deflects the ball out for a corner kick there.
Well, in that case, you really just saw, kind of sums up Kingston night, really. You had a flash of maybe you can see what they're trying to do, but the execution just let them down. They were trying to duck and weave and slice and dice through that Thunder defence, but the touch wasn't there. But nonetheless, corner, perhaps set piece can maybe kickstart them going.
We'll see if this corner kick by Inestroza will amount to anything. Might actually be Anthony Fio who delivers it in. Goes in. Sakizada with the towering header, but just didn't have enough power, nor the direction to really trouble Pierce Clark, who easily gathers the ball there. Suleimani did well there to clear the ball away from danger, but opportunity presented here to Dan Piemonte, and a heroic defensive clearance from Sakizada. Danger still not clear for Funda. Carpenter on the ball. Carpenter cleared away by Chris Irwin there, who I think got an important interception. And a fantastic ball into the area there by Dean Piemonte. Presented a good opportunity for Dean Piemonte to break the deadlock, but he hesitated for too long, waiting for the ball to really bounce for him at the perfect opportunity. And Sakizada did so well there to clear the ball away out of danger, only seconds after himself being at the end of that corner kick for Kingston City, where he rose highest but ultimately couldn't trouble Clark. As we see Suleimani win possession. Conte to Ionis, to Inestroza. Good opportunity, but he's fluffed that shot, and Pierce Clark will be hoping to have more of those, given the ease of the save in the end.
I mean, it kind of not a lot of excitement there, just given how poor the shot was. But a chance like that really could have probably done with a better touch and just setting himself and shooting. He had time, all the space in the world to run onto and shoot in a situation like that. Well, God, I sound like a broken record here, but somebody has to take a chance in this game. So many of them coming up. So Piemonte there, unable to pull the trigger, as now Thunder go forward once again.
Yes, although it didn't amount to anything. And yeah, he just never looked really confident when he had the ball there in Inestroza, and I guess not an opportunity that he'll be looking back on with much fondness as the ball breaks out here to Zwed. Zwed up against Matafari. It's opened up here for Zwed, and what a fantastic strike from the Polish-born Libyan A-League superstar, who gives Kingston City the spark, the lead. A deserved lead, Joey?
Well, no, not a deserved lead at all, but nonetheless, Wed, he did absolutely fantastic there, cutting inside on his right boot. He's come onto this left flank here in the second half, and you can see there why he's been kept put on there, getting the ball, cutting inside, opening it up the angle, and just putting the ball top right corner. Absolute No chance there for the Dandenong Thunder goalkeeper. And now Thunder, they had all the chances in the world. They should have had one, perhaps even two, but now they find themselves down 1-0 here in the 68th minute of the game. The goal went in. Really all to play for now. Hopefully we see it opening up.
Yes, and as Ned Zelic might say, a bit of individual brilliance to liven up this game. It really needed that, and it's really going to now push Dandenong Funda to put numbers forward in attack and be a bit more prolific, because that's what they really struggled with tonight. Balls played into Brandon Barnes, but Sakizada did well to apply some pressure, and ultimately Barnes' touch was heavy and safely steered away by the Kingston City defence. It's really what the game was lacking, and now it's gotten it thanks to Muad Zwed's brilliant strike. He was one-on-one up against Nick Modafari there. He's been in that position on a few occasions tonight, just hasn't been able to get the better of his direct opponent. Cut inside brilliantly there, and for a player who's, as we mentioned, had a lot of injury turmoil over the past 24 months, all power to him with that goal. Fantastic strike. And he's on the ball here again, looking to play in Ionis. He has. Ionis has been in the offside trap. He's got Zwed in support. He'll use him. So nice combination play between those two. Back to Ionis, to Inestroza, to Zwed. A bit casual, but they've still got possession here. Great play by Ionis to Inestroza, and almost side netting there for the Chilean.
Well, I mean, Damo, we've seen a situation like this. It's the beauty of football. It's the randomness of football. You see the Thunder, so many chances come their way, and they can't convert. And then the Kingston coming up the other end as Thunder try to get something going here. Kingston, a chance goes their way, and they're able to convert. And you see the game completely change. Kingston again with another near chance there. Ball is played into the area by Modafari, but it's collected well by the Kingston goalkeeper. Now, the randomness of the game, a chance there, and now you'll have to see the Thunder at this point now. Well, they've got to open up. Goals change games, as you like to say. Well, not you like to say. I think it's one of our friends, Ante Jukic, likes to say goals change games. The Thunder offside play will have to hold up here. The referee hasn't seen it yet. Finally called. Goals change games. The Thunder are going to have to open up. They could even find themselves copping one or two here if they're not careful.
Well, they have one of the most lethal marksmen that we've seen in recent memory in Victorian football in Brandon Barnes on their team sheet, as well as Dean Piemonte, who has been a frequent scorer over a number of seasons for the Oakley Cannons. As we see Barnes go into Gucci, it's going to be a foul against the Englishman. Will there be any further penalty? Wasn't a whole lot in it, but he definitely did stuck out a foot into Osugi. The Funda supporters letting the Japanese goalkeeper know what they think about that. Think he's playing a bit to the cameras. And he slipped there. He slipped. And this will be an indirect free kick against the goalkeeper. Well, should Sakizada have been a bit more aware of the circumstances there and rushed to the aid of his goalkeeper? Brandon Barnes was waiting to take advantage of that, but Osugi, I think, did the smart thing there. He might, have gotten himself a yellow card, but he had really no other option there but to kick the ball away. Although to be fair to him, he did slip. It's not one of those things that he did. It's not like he intended to deliberately touch the ball twice. It just happened, and circumstances forced him to do so to ensure that his team wasn't facing Brandon Barnes and a potential equaliser there. It's going to be Carvalho who's looking to take this.
Scored a number of fantastic set pieces already this season, so we'll see whether he fancies his chances or he's going to try to turn provider. Barnes is waiting at the top of the area, and you know he would love the ball rolled in front of him to hammer home.
Well, they've got a few set-piece opportunities. I mean, they've got Carvalho, they've also got Barnes, they've got Piemonte, who is a free-kick specialist himself. Bit of an unusual situation, this one, being an indirect free-kick in the area, but Carvalho, as you mentioned, has scored a number of curlers this season. A late free-kick equalised against Pascoval a few weeks back as referee Alex Nikolovsky gets the ball back to the required 10 yards. Carvalho to Piemonte. And I'm not sure if you can hear it, but Nick Tolios is not really happy with the referee there because he felt that he was in the way of his players as they were looking to defend that free kick. Asugi definitely getting it from the fans now, but he's done well with that goal kick. And I think Piemonte's effort there, even if there was a different set of goals from a different sporting code here in Australia, I think he might have missed the target for that one as well and might have been just a behind.
And that is perhaps something that we need to keep an eye on as the second half progresses. Damian Asugi, new to the country, and now he's standing in front of one of the most vocal and passionate fan bases here in NPL Victoria, in those Dandy Thunder fans down there. Perhaps when he did slip over and touch that ball inadvertently there, maybe he was letting the fans get in his head. He's going to hear it pretty much every time he goes near the ball in the future. So he's got to be able to keep his head here and keep his cool if he is to protect that clean sheet. And as the ball goes out there, it'll come back. If he is to protect that clean sheet and protect this vital 3 points for Kingston.
I think so too. And in this last goal kick that he took, he did, turn around to the surface. I think he almost had another near miss there as Ionis does so well to slalom past a few players. Definitely getting a bit more heated out here, given not only the scoreline, what's at stake, but also the time of the game. So we have ticked over into the last 15 minutes. Plus, we'll get a bit of stoppage time, you'd assume. Swed does well, but while most of his teammates were going back, trying to stay on side, he pushed the ball forward, and ultimately Clark didn't have too much trouble gathering that one. Georgopoulos with plenty of room to move forward. Plays in Carpenter. It's a fantastic ball. And Simo Jovanovic had to be very alert to that one, and he certainly was. So we see a Kingston City player go down. It's going to be a...
Well, that's twice now, Damian, we've seen during this half. Jovanovic then and Sakizada beforehand, two excellent sliding challenges to clear the danger for Kingston. In a situation like that, you've got to get the sliding challenge right, because if it's wrong, an inch to the left or an inch to the right, you've given away a penalty. But some fantastic defending there from Kingston once again to protect this narrow one-goal lead. And also looking at Dandenong now, it seems that Piemonte has gone up, so they're playing two up front now, two strikers for the Thunder. Barnes was deployed on his own in the first half. Now he's got a strike partner, maybe somebody that he can bounce off and play hold-up man for.
Yes, and I know that at the moment Muad Zwed stands as the match winner, so potential man of the match goes out to him. But I think both Sakizada and Simo Jovanovic are also worthy recipients of that if the result stands. Also, we did see Ionis Georgopoulos go into the book for that tackle a few minutes ago.
Well, I mean, Zwed, the E-League player, if he's man of the match, what is that, a hero card, a gold card? What's the FIFA card for those? I don't play the game.
I'd love to have more time to play FIFA. Unfortunately, I can't rewind the clock back to my teenage past, but Moyad Zwed certainly can, and he's one of the best in the country at it. And not only does he complement that on the park, but he's definitely been his side's go-to man tonight, as we see Inestrosa win a free kick, and Kingston City will go to the bench for a second time tonight with Alex Canilia about to come on. So it's a welcome return for the former Perth Glory youth player. And he's going to come on here for number 7, which is Chris Irwin. Well, I think he's limping as he's going off, so it might have sustained a bit of a knock here.
Well, I mean, Cornelia scored 9 goals in just 12 games for Kingston back in 2018. So he's the type that, if he can score in bunches and he can find the back of the net. He has demonstrated. So maybe Kingston pushing for a second to put this game to bed, you would feel.
And Georgopoulos, who got a yellow card only a couple of minutes ago, makes way for Jake Cuscieri in what is the Funda's second change of the evening as well. So both coaches, Veton Kochari and Nick Tolios, have one more card up their sleeves from the bench to bring on. So see Zwed on the ball. He's done well to keep it in. Half shouts of a foul. Wasn't given. Potential for a poor challenge there, but luckily the two number 8s, Conte and Cuscieri. I think Cuscieri might have just caught Conte, and that's why the referee has given a free kick to the Kingston City midfielder. Not that the Funda bench were too impressed by that one, as we hear Kingston City captain Simo Ivanovic with some encouraging words to his teammates to keep at it. I think that they sense that tonight's a really good opportunity to get that elusive victory that has evaded them for a good 9 games now. 10 if you stretch it out to the FA Cup defeat that they suffered at the hands of the Bentley Greens. Although I think their last win did come in that competition against the St Kilda Celts, where they did go not only 1-0 down at the break, but they also lost Erhan Yelaz. And despite that, they were still able to come from behind and win 2-1, although only a few weeks later they were eliminated from the competition in heartbreaking circumstances with a 90th minute winner for the Bentley Greens, seeing Kingston depart the FA Cup at the hands of the Bentley Greens for the second consecutive season. Zwed standing over this set piece. A goal here will just about do it for Kingston and condemn the Funda to another disappointing home defeat. Zwed, Inestrosa, gilt-edged opportunity missed by the Chilean. Should have done much better there. At least tested Pierce Clark. Wasn't to be, and the Funda survive a scare.
No, it was an excellent set piece coming in, as you said. Header would have liked to get that on the target in this situation. You can't have them too badly because they are a goal up. What was very interesting to me there was just watching up the other end of the field as the Thunder were getting organised. Piemonte initially was wandering back, maybe looking to defend that set piece. As I'll hand back to you for this chance.
Mehmeti slipped. Inestrosa plays in Ionis. Good chance for 2-0. It is. Damian Ionis gets his 4th goal this season. Kingston City, 2 goals to the good. And you've got to say that might be that. And will that be the result that sparks Kingston's season?
Well, I'm not sure if we've got the fat ladies here, but if she is, she might want to start singing there. As I've said before, Damian, goals change games. The Thunder having to throw numbers forward to try to get something going. The Kingston are able to catch them napping, break quickly, slice through, and Ionis, you've got to just say, fantastic finish there. Just cool as you like, putting the ball in the back of the net. And at this point, Kingston desperately needed 3 points, you'd have to say, pretty much secured.
Some fortune there for Kingston City with Mehmeti's slip up there, vital slip, played in Innistrosa, and Innistrosa found Ionis, and good touch to that celebration as well, because I think he's gone over and celebrated in front of his mum. So good on Ionis there, as Kingston City now lead 2-0 with 7 minutes plus at a time left. So it's really now or never for Dandenong Funda.
I mean, you were mentioning there that slip, Damian. Liverpool fans hoping that that's the only slip that happens tonight.
Well, that's the thing with slippery surfaces. I mean, if we rewind and we're talking about Champions League finals back in 2008, that Manchester United-Chelsea Champions League final, which was the last All-English final that we saw. John Terry's slip, of course, proving quite costly for Chelsea, but also Chelsea's equaliser that night came about through the result of a slip in the Manchester United defence from both Rio Ferdinand and Edwin van der Sar. So that's the thing. When you always have slippery conditions, it's one of those things where it's a bit hard for players to control sometimes, as we see Barnes up against Sakizada here. Zwed's done really well to get the ball. I think he's been close to Kingston's best tonight. It's going to be a free kick here too in Innistrosa, as we see Kingston about to bring on their third change, and I think it might be a debut in Kingston colours for David Antequera, the former Nunawading City and Box Hill United attacker. Sorry, midfielder, who's going to come on for Ali Soleimani. Dover does well to beat his man, and a fantastic turn away from opponents as he was fouled there. Zwed, I think, acknowledges Dover's trickery there by giving him a bit of a pat on the head.
Do you reckon he champed him as well?
Never a good sign when someone champs you. Another long field ball aimed aimlessly towards Brandon Barnes, but couldn't find him. Cornelia looks to play in Innistrosa. I think he's done well tonight as well, particularly with that assist to Ionis just minutes ago. Bit of a heavy challenge there on Brandon Barnes from Sakizada. It's one of those players, Brandon Barnes, that you can never take your eyes off, given the threat that he carries. Might be having a quiet one, and just out of nowhere he'll spring to life, and Kingston City will be hoping that won't be the case as he stands over this set-piece opportunity.
You can tell he's getting frustrated as this game goes on. Normally, you'd expect someone like Brandon Barnes maybe getting into the box as he floats the ball in towards the penalty spot, but it's headed away by Kingston. He's the type of bloke you'd want in the penalty box with his lethal instincts and his ability to create goals out of nothing. But as he's getting frustrated, he's clearly saying, right, I'll do it myself, and coming back and taking the free kick. Unfortunately for Barnes and Dandenong, nothing resulting. Yeah,
and although we have a bit of a benefit here, not only hindsight, but also of a heightened position, given we're in the pavilion here at Dackland Stadium, but Sugi was quite far off his line, and he's not the tallest of goalkeepers, so maybe in hindsight he might have also fancied his opportunities by having a shot on goal. But I guess if that doesn't work out, you've got 10 other players and your coaching staff looking at you. What are you doing? Why are you taking that option when you've got more men to choose from and aim for in that penalty area? But it's not to be. It just really hasn't been fun this night. I think we've overused that expression over the course of this evening, as they're about to bring on their third and final change. I wonder whether it'll be Sevdim Ismaili or Halil Rekic. In fact, it is going to be Ismaili who's going to come on. Who for time will tell. So we'll wait for official Almir to lift up his board. Oh, and something that's completely bypassed us is the fact that the Melbourne Knights ended up getting a 93rd minute winner against the Altona Magic. So second time this week that the Melbourne Knights have gotten a late goal to force victory, as we saw offside there on Innistroy. So Carpenter's the man who's going to come off here for Ismaili, who will be pushed into a more attacking position in support of Piemonte and Brandon Barnes. So Hamish Watson, again, the goal scorer for his 8th goal this season. And what a week it's been for the Melbourne Knights. A week ago, they were not only coming off the back of a 1-0 disappointing home loss to the Oakley Cannons, as we see 4 minutes of added time to be added on. So again, that clock on the electronic scoreboard is a bit behind as we tick over to 90. As I said, not only were the Knights coming off the back of a disappointing defeat, but they'd also lost their coach and assistant coach. Marijan Cvitkovic was the player coach for that game against Avondale. They weren't fancied in that one. They got over the line there, and they made it 2 wins from 2 under the caretakers. So we saw Veton Kochadi become the Knights, Funda's permanent coach last year in similar circumstances. Don't think Cvitkovic will be, given that the Knights are actively searching for a permanent replacement, but if he does have a future in coaching, he'll have a 100% record as things stand. Funda's attempts to generate an attack have proved fruitless once more. Dover. Barnes got a bit of space here up against Vethagic. Can he cut inside? Doesn't do so indeed, but just couldn't find Carvalho in support there. And Kingston City really last season had a disappointing first half of the campaign, but following some good mid-season acquisitions were able to propel themselves up the table and ultimately finish 7, just one spot outside the finals placings. If the season carried on for another round or two, you'd imagine they would have finished inside that top 6. Such was the run that they got onto in the second half of the season. Maybe tonight, might be the start of something special for Nick Tolios and his men to pull themselves out of a hopeless position that they were staring in tonight. They'll still be last, given that Dandenong City's win last night, but they're much closer to not only the Funda, but also the safety, as Vethagic just clears that ball as far as possible.
No, well, you're exactly right, Damian. If the season were to end today, we'd have a situation where the Thunder would play the winner of a St Albans versus Bulleen playoff in the promotion and relegation playoff. But now, with the win, Kingston City moving up to 10 points on the season, just 3 adrift of the 12th place Dandenong Thunder. So, and only 4 points behind 11th place Pascoe. So, safety's tantalisingly close for Kingston if they can string some results together.
Yes, and the Pascoe team that does play the Bentley Greens here in Melbourne Southeast tomorrow. Also, Oakley Cannons are also at home tomorrow. And they'll be up against Hume City, who not only have been impressive in the Cup, but they've also been very impressive in the league this season, given where they were last season. And also, James Brown, sensational goal-scoring form. Maybe even might have put himself back into the ears and mouths of plenty of people in A-League land.
Well, Western United supposedly have been sniffing around looking for NPL options. The man with the most soul in NPL Victoria, he has done it before at an A-League level. So, and if he keeps scoring, well, that's the entire point of expansion in a national second division and the like, isn't it, Damian? To give these players an opportunity to do their thing at a professional top level once again.
Yes, indeed it is. As Kingston go in search for a third. Conte's weak shot really in the end there. Did not trouble Clark, who plays it out quickly to Mudafari goes searching long for Piemonte, but Simo Jovanovic, tall presence in the Funda defence, does his job once again. Barnes to Ismaili. Ismaili couldn't find Piemonte, and that caps off Funda's disappointing evening. They're still searching for that evasive first home win of the campaign, which now stretches beyond round 15. For Kingston City, on the other hand, it's a different story altogether, because they've got their first league win in 9 games, and you've got to say that they've deserved it on the basis of that second half performance, and also on the fact that they took their opportunities.
Absolutely. I think, Damian, when you're saying opportunities, that's what it all came down to. First half, well, nobody's going to be writing home about that first half, but second half, the Dandenong Thunder, they had their chances early to take a lead, probably should have taken a lead, unable to do so, and then what happens up the other end? Zwed cuts inside onto his right foot, hammers home a goal to put this side ahead, and then Ionis with a second one as the Thunder are forced to open up and chase the game to truly just seal that 3 points. Kingston, lethal when they had to be. Thunder, well, they're just going to have to wonder about what might have been. They've got the talent to put those shots away, and if they are to survive this season, those are the type of shots that are going to have to be dispatched going forward. But as you said, deserved to win for Kingston. Maybe apologise for the Thunder for giving them a moz with my prediction early in the season, but definitely an entertaining second half.
Indeed it was, and on behalf of myself and Joey Lynch, we do apologise for any breaks in the Facebook stream. We do understand that it was back up and running in time for that Zwed opener. Just repeating the final scoreline here, Dandenong Funda 0, Kingston City 2, thanks to 2 second-half goals from Muad Zwed and Damian Ionis. And Nick Tolios will definitely be hoping that that is a taste of things to come, and that win will be a springboard onto further success and further points for Kingston City. For Funda, they'll have a bit of soul-searching to do as they look to really answer a really curious question in terms of why they are so ineffective and poor at home, given that pretty much all of their wins and most of their points have been achieved on the road. So they'll go out and prepare for a big home game next week against the Oakley Cannons, while Kingston City will definitely be feeling a lot better about themselves following that win. Thank you for joining us, and until next time, see you then.